The Enpro plant provides primary power to the communications tower and backup power to the entire Mars UAC facility. Plasma canisters are also manufactured here from the CRC power production byproduct.
Bravo team, entry secure. Move in and take positions. Quiet. Did you hear that? This is Lead. Give me status. Always clear. There's nothing here, Sam. Go on.
Alright, first of all, how on earth did they not know that there were enemies there? Oh, I know. It was probably the absolutely abhorrent sound mixing in the cutscenes of this game. Second of all, these are supposed to be veterans, yet none of them are carrying a patent-protected flashlight that allows them to brighten up pitch-black areas where, I don't know, enemies might be hiding. But as it turns out, the new recruit is just far more competent than Mars's finest defense force. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, welcome back to Doom 3, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the Enpro facility, finally exiting the Alpha Labs from the previous sector. And this is one of my favorite levels. It has explosive barrels, it has chain gun ammo, it has plasma guns. It's got everything I want in a Doom 3 level.
Marine, Bravo team is down. Their operational status is unknown. They were carrying a military transmission card. It's vital you retrieve that card as it contains encoded data needed to send the distress signal to the fleet. You're the last hope to get reinforcements. Find that card and find it fast.
And since Sergeant Kelly was very likely watching the cutscene along with us, he is perfectly aware of the fact that Bravo team is a bunch of morons. So, our objective is to go recover that transmission card, and we'll be starting off by reuniting with our little robot friend once again. The Sentry Turret Bot has made a comeback, and we're going to try and assist it by using our chain gun inside these very dark hallways. Because we get lots of chain gun ammo, and it's good to break this puppy out once again. We're also going to get to use our plasma gun a little more often, and it's going to be great. As I said, this is probably one of my favorite levels in the game, and subsequently, this particular section is just one of my favorites. There's tons of imps, tons of chain gun ammo. It's just tons of everything that I want. All I ever want is to just shoot enemies and not let the robot buddy get in the way, but unfortunately he's doing a fine job of that, so I'm just going to try to protect him. Like, I'm gonna watch your back, little guy, so you scratch mine in return. Everything's gonna be good. Hey, that's a pretty nice button right there. And if you want to know what that button does, it disables that little jet stream of fire. So, head back, stop the gas leak, and now we can sprint forward ever so slightly, occasionally shoot a couple of guys along the way. Very action-packed. Let's use the explosive barrels to our advantage. Also, for 100% completion purposes, we want to kill this guy back here, and I'm just gonna kill with my flashlight. It seemed like he took an adequate amount of damage at that point. It's like, sure, why not? Gotta show some love for the old flashlight now and then. Best melee weapon. It shines lights on enemies, and it kills things with precision. Actually, that's a lie. It's like one of the worst weapons in the game. But that enemy is actually an indication that there's a plasma gun back here. We picked up this weapon in the previous stage, and to go over the basics of how it functions once again, the plasma rifle shoots perfectly accurately. It is one of the few automatic weapons in this game that accomplishes that much. The projectiles have travel time, they're a little bit slow, however, they are also capable of destroying enemy fireballs, which is very helpful for a certain type of enemy much later on. It's a good middle point between the machine gun and the chain gun in terms of damage, so you can get away with using this weapon quite a lot, not simply because of its damage, but also because they give you just a stupid amount of ammunition for the plasma gun. It can effectively replace the machine gun, I believe I stated in the last episode. So, go ahead and use the plasma gun as much as possible, because I'm just going to spoil it right now, we're going to pretty much be getting a complete ammunition refill on all plasma packs at the very tail end of this stage. So, just be comfortable in that fact. Alright, good night, little guy. let's go pick up these armor shards over here. And we can hear the sound of somebody sobbing, so, you know, that's a good sign. We're playing a horror game. It's obviously great to hear people crying. It means they're still alive. That's all that matters. It's nice to see that there are survivors. They really cannot handle the emotional torment of this situation. Demons are invading the base. They stole our lunch money. It's awful. That looked painful, to say the least, but here we can actually get a practical use out of our Fists of Fury. Those are the lost souls of this video game, looking a little slightly bit different compared to their previous counterparts. They can be killed in a single punch. They have next to no health. They are just really, really awkward to hit. That's basically their ultimate strength. And they commonly appear in like squadrons of 3 or 4 at a time. The machine gun is a very good weapon against them. So, let's go ahead and unlock the doors to this bridge. Here we can find the only storage cabinet in this entire level, and the code for this you can find was by this lady over here who is missing half of her skull. It happens. The code is 972, and you can discover this code inside a audio log regarding weapon research on the plasma rifle. So if you missed the previous couple of plasma rifles, you can pick one up right here. And a further demonstration of how the Lost Souls function is that they get somewhat confused when there are doors in front of them, because they technically have to go through the door before they can charge you like so. That is how they attack. It can be a little bit scary to fight at first, but once you get the ropes of how the game works, then just spam machine gun bullets, and most of the time they'll die. Machine gun is pretty much good at any range against these guys simply because they do not contain a lot of health inside their tiny skulls. You're basically getting perfect headshots all the time because they are just essentially heads. I'm actually just gonna run back a little bit over here. If the situation does get a little bit too hairy, you can switch over to the plasma rifle thingamabob. It's actually a pretty decent weapon, minus the fact that the projectiles have to travel through the air, so you can just be like shooting across a chasm, and sometimes you'll hit, sometimes you'll miss. It depends on the path that the Lost Souls are taking. They can't have any obstacle obstructing them before they're able to use their charging attack. So, if you have like a handrail in front of you, a solid handrail, then you should be okay. You might not get hit, and you'll be able to kill them before they make any progress. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to acquire that transmission card that Sarge was nagging us about earlier because we have to embark on a side quest. We have to replace a coolant rod. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, move on into this room after you kill that imp. That's going to spawn 2 Lost Souls. Come on, let me just... There we are. Plasma rifle. There are no consequences to using the plasma rifle. You might as well just use it as the only weapon you have available in this entire level. It is such a fun weapon. I love the plasma rifle in this game. Kaboom! Get rid of all those guys. I might save these explosive barrels for later. If not, I'll just blow them up so that way they won't obstruct justice like this gentleman right here. And now we get to descend an incredibly lengthy lift where we can watch explosions and smoke and flashing strobe lights and all of the things that you want to see in an elevator. This elevator does go on for quite a while. It lasts like about 25 seconds before you reach the bottom, just to give you a general idea of how deep the chasm inside the Enpro facility goes. So, we should be getting a message from Sarge any second now.
Louis, you gotta find that transmission card. If Swan gets his hands on it, I don't know what he'll do.
I don't know, maybe he'll send the transmission for us. I mean, that would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? You can see that Lost Soul just kind of appears out of nowhere. I am wasting so many bullets doing this. By the way, the thing that I appreciate, again, about how these guys have less health is because you don't have to waste, like, 2 shotgun shells to kill them. Like, actually, I think they were able to withstand 2 shotgun shots in the classic Doom games. Here, using the shotgun is just a little bit more awkward because of the very horrid pellet spread that the shotgun has. Otherwise, it's kind of an option, but I would recommend you use a machine gun above all. Anyhow, that guy's gonna do a fancy jump, toss a fireball over here, and miss completely. I'm just gonna use that explosive barrel. Or not. Hang on, let me just lure this guy over. Oh yeah, you can see there's a new enemy over there! This is a Wraith! And he dies in one pistol bullet. Just kidding. He got hit by the explosive barrel, so he really didn't need to take much more damage in order to be killed when he was deaded. But Wraiths, they, you could think of Wraiths as, like, new people who are just, like, downloaded Team Fortress 2 and have decided that they wanted to play Spy. That's basically what Wraiths are. They cloak, and then they decloak in front of you, because that's the only way they can actually hit you. They're strictly melee weapons only otherwise, and you would think that they're being able to teleport to like a dimension beyond our existence would be extremely terrible because they'd be able to potentially get behind you. But no, they can only teleport a couple of feet before they have to sort of decloak, and then they'll be able to attack you, and they keep this pattern up no matter what distance you are from them. So in the end, Wraiths are just really pathetic like most of Doom 3's new enemies. Anyhow, let's just go ahead and replace the coolant rod.
Do you see the card?
No, sir.
Okay, let's get to the communications facility. We can stop the transmission from there.
Whatever you say, Counselor.
A lone survivor, that isn't me! Excellent. Let's hope we reach that guy before the demons do. Anyhow, we have another fight to participate in after replacing that coolant rod. We're just gonna run in here, duck back inside our little security station, because there are like 5 lost souls that spawn in this area, and they all have to head towards that door, which can be, somewhat awkward to deal with. There's also that imp, he's really not making the situation any better. So I would kind of recommend that you take care of him last. And once that's out of the way, there you go. Just sort of bait those lost souls into the door, and you should make it out A-okay. Let's go ahead and keep using our plasma gun on this gentleman right here. Move back on the way we came, and we'll actually encounter another Wraith. First of all, there's a maggot over here, and here you can see this is what the Wraiths do. They teleport in, they teleport back in. Like, the closer you are to them determines when they're going to decloak as well. I guess one strength of the Wraiths is that they don't really suffer much flinching. Like, if you shoot them, you still want to, like, run backwards in case they don't die, because they will still be able to get a melee hit in, possibly. Apart from that, their attacks are still really slow. They do have decent running speed, but I can't really give them much credit at this point. It's unfortunate. They really aren't the most interesting enemies. Anyway, let's stride back up this really exciting lift. In fact, you know, I'm just gonna open up my PDA. We haven't observed what the PDA does in a while. One thing I neglected to mention at the very start of the game, because I haven't felt the urge to actually open up the personal data system once again, we actually do have a little weapons sidebar down here where you can read about the weapons that you pick up, such as the plasma gun. Energy-based weapon developed in the Mars Weapons Facility. Unit is powered by plasma canisters manufactured in the Enpro facility. That's where we are right now, you guys, and oh hey, the elevator lift ended perfectly by the time I had finished reading that paragraph. So, I think that was a fairly wise decision. Moving forward here is going to be a little bit scary, so I'm actually just going to run backwards the way I came, because that lost soul, that one could easily hit you if you're not prepared. And, of course, rather than taking the shortcut over the bottomless pit, they decide they have to run along the hand railings until they reach me, which makes the Lost Souls not the best enemies in the game. Look at how much plasma gun ammo we have! I don't know why we need this much plasma rifle ammo, but if the game demands that we carry this much, by golly, I'm gonna use it. Open up. It's the feds. The feds are here with the new issued MG something something plasma rifles. Good weapon. Shoots plasma balls, gets rid of projectiles, destroys demons. Obviously, a weapon that you definitely want your security team to have. I'm gonna approach that set of barrels very carefully. In fact, I'm gonna toss a grenade over there because there's actually gonna be a Wraith that runs through. And he tried to cloak away, but he just couldn't make it. Yes, Wraiths are impervious to damage if they manage to fully teleport into a different dimension, but if you catch them while they're teleporting, then it's possible that they'll just die, even after they've successfully managed to teleport, which is kind of sad, really, because it goes to show that they are indeed not invincible. Around this corner, there's gonna be this maggot right here, and if you pick up these armor shards, that's gonna open up a closet to reveal his cousin. And over here, we're going to use the power of luring enemies towards explosive barrels to make them go boom. Like so. And I believe if you shine your flashlight down here, you can see that guy. He has to run a very specific path to reach us. And then he goes boom. If you're wondering what's back here, it's just a small ammunition stash with a couple of clips. But I think I'm pretty good on machine gun ammo. Yeah, I mean, I'm carrying 600 bullets. I can't possibly carry any more, but that's mainly due to the fact that I'm currently carrying around 300 shotgun shells. You know, common life problems. Right. This is a room that is relatively not that interesting. I mean, it has 2 fat zombies, so it's good to see the zombies in action once again. It also has this imp, I suppose, who's just gonna walk around the corner. I want to kill with my explosive barrel. And before I enter the following room, you can probably see a little preview of what to expect from that room. There are some epileptic strobe lights in that area, so if you suffer from epilepsy, then just skip to the part of the video that I advise, because this isn't pleasant to look at. There's just gonna be like a couple of not very interesting enemies in here. Like, first when you run forward, that's gonna spawn like a wraith that you can kill with an explosive barrel, and another wraith that you could just kill with your plasma gun. And then once you round the bend up here, we're almost out of it, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to spawn one maggot behind us. And okay, now you can look at your screen once again. We are outside of the epileptic seizure room. No more strobe lights, you don't have to worry about that. At least for a bit of time, we're actually going to be encountering more strobe lights just because Doom 3 likes its strobe lights. They don't use them too often, but where they do, it's just an unpleasant sight. But that row of explosive barrels all aligned so perfectly, so fashionably, that it was able to kill 2 imps. That makes up for the mistakes that the developers made. Anyhow, here's a door that says plasma storage, but we don't have a personal data assistant code for it, so we can't open it right now. I mean, technically I have the code written down in front of me, but I think it involves listening to an audio log to initially obtain the code, and I think I'll actually listen to that just because I want to demonstrate what it is, how the audio logs work in this game. And plus, I find the particular story to be somewhat amusing. But first of all, we have a cutscene to go through.
Hey. Over here. We were hit. I don't know how much farther I can go. Here. Take the transmission card. We can't stay here. Isn't safe. We better move.
What I find very curious about the cutscene right there is that I think it was meant to introduce the wraiths, but we've technically already been introduced to them, so I kind of question the point of that one. I want to assume maybe in like lower difficulties, the wraiths we encountered just don't spawn, simply because I just always play on like veteran difficulty whenever I go back to this game. I don't know, if someone could verify that claim, that would be just the knees of the beast right there. Unfortunately, he's not doing too great anymore. He's kind of missing half of his face. But whatevs. We have a PDA to pick up, and this is by Technician Steve Hammer, who contains an audio log regarding that plasma storage area. So, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to that audio log, because again, I'll reiterate, I find this story of particular amusement, and I'm not going to spoil anything any further. So, skip to the little part of the video that says, hey, this is where you get the code, because it's a slightly long audio log.
Steve Hammer, service technician. Since Private Swenson wigged out, shot up that drink machine, then lit himself up with a plasma gun, we've all been a bit nervous. All of us in maintenance knew he was losing it. Finally, when that darn drink machine wouldn't accept his credits, he lost it. Started swearing up and down, and you had to laugh when that machine lit up, but before any of us could react, he fed himself enough plasma to power an office building. There wasn't enough head to clean up, just vapor. It's a bad thing to happen to anyone. Anyway, I know with all the psych problems we've had lately, we need the additional security, but when the guards start going nuts, I don't know, all this extra weapons and ammunition, I mean, do we really need so much firepower laying around? Well, a couple of us decided to lock up all of the unsecured plasma rounds we could find. The code is 734. I think we'll all sleep a bit better tonight knowing it's locked up.
I love how nonchalantly he says, bad thing to happen to anyone. Anyhow, if you skip to this part of the video, the code for the storage here is 734, which I will say again, you can find in Steve Hammer's audio log regarding the plasma storage. And here we can encounter the final enemy, and some strobe lights as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to warn people, but that's where the strobe lights are at. But in case you didn't... Well, in case you did use all of your plasma rifle ammo, you can almost get a complete refill in that area, so... There you are, we're all well stocked up for the next stage. And that is the end of the Enpro facility. Again, probably one of my favorite levels in the whole game. And with that, let's cycle this airlock, and let's get out of here.